Welcome back, everyone. This is Liz Faircloth, host of the Real Estate Investor Show. So many investors are struggling right now to manage their finances, especially with the uncertain market that we're in. We address this very issue with Deanna Zubrickas, a certified Profit First professional. On today's episode, you're going to learn about Profit First and how you implement this strategy in your business so it can, number one, increase your profitability, and two, it can prepare you for the unexpected. All right, Deanna. So you know that so many real estate investors right now have considered profit first. This is not a new concept to so many investors, so many entrepreneurs. But I got to be honest, a lot of them are cautious and they're really apprehensive right now because there's a lot of uncertainty, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in today's market and we just don't know where the market's headed. So what single piece of advice would you offer to ensure, these investors that they actually do have success with profit first, especially right now in today's economy?
Yeah, Liz, I totally agree and understand why people would want to feel cautious. You should feel cautious about your money, right? This is just sometimes your entire life savings or investments in one property, maybe multiple. So you should treat it like that. But if you are kind of dipping your toe into the pool of profit first and want to change something in your business, but you're not ready to fully commit to the full 5-account method yet, start with one account. And maybe that's a tax account, right? Maybe you are siphoning off funds till the next tax season comes around. And once you hit that tax season and you've got, a little nest egg to pay off that bill and you're not scrambling, you're not stressing out when that time comes around, that's going to build your confidence in the idea of separating funds. And more than likely, it will have you opening more accounts after that and committing more and more to the method.
I love that. So let's take a step back because for a lot of people listening, they know a bit about the profit first as a methodology, right? As a cash management methodology, if you will. But they really don't know exactly what all the specifics are and quite honestly what the benefit is. So I'd love to talk that through with you. Let's take a step back of like, what is the profit first kind of concept methodology even mean? Let's start with that. And then we can go to why do we need to do this and why now?
So Profit First is a cash flow methodology. And the idea behind that is every month you have all of your deposits coming into one account, your income account, and then you are dispersing them into 4 other accounts. And if we're going to go off of the true method from Mike's book, that'll be on a twice monthly basis. And so your funds will separate into your owner's pay, into your tax account, profit account, and your owner's compensation. And the idea behind this is, I'm sure many of the listeners today will understand, business owners often eat last. And I think especially if you're a woman, especially in real estate, right? You're always the last person getting taken care of. So the idea behind Profit First is to switch that mindset, like totally flip it. It's on its head. And the business owner comes first and you structure your business to work around that. Like if you can't eat, your business can't eat. And that's the idea behind Profit First. And so it's really separating the funds into how you want to allocate them to your business. And you can work with professionals to how to do that, or you can do it by yourself. But at its core, it is a mindset change.
I love this. There's so many different things I want to talk about. When I first read Mike's book, so I actually know Mike. And I need to reach out to him because I met with him and worked with him in my old days of consulting. So I know Mike actually, and he's a good guy, very entrepreneurial. And I forget what business he was running when I first met him. But regardless, he's written the book, Mike Michalowicz, on Profit First. So we'll put that in the show notes for everyone. But regardless, he talks a lot about in that book, and what really made me like both me and Andressa, and why I'm excited that we're working with you guys, is that what he made me think about was that so many business owners just look at what's in the account, literally what's in their bank account. In other words, they use it as like almost like a way to like, we're doing good or we're not doing good, like literally. And when he wrote that and said so many entrepreneurs that are growing successful businesses use that as almost like a benchmark, I'm like, oh my God, I do that, And so that really shifted our mindset to say that's not effective cash management, right? And then obviously his strategy on how to do that. And I love the multiple accounts. So let's talk a little bit about what the process looks like. Meaning, for so many women listening, they might be like, you know what? I don't pay myself because I don't have a lot to pay myself. I'm reinvesting in this property that was supposed to take 3 months. Now it's taken 6 months. Or the damn lumber costs more now because of X, Y, and Z. And the interest rates have gone up. So my costs have gone up. That's the reality for so many real estate investors right now. What once was a great project when they began, the project has shifted like within 6 months financially. So walk us through the process and how they kind of how we could stay committed to this, and make sure we have the money and the resources to get our projects complete. I'm curious to get into that psychology, because it is a little bit of a psychology, and it's just, black and white as well.
Yeah. And for anybody that's listening today that hasn't read the book before, highly recommend it. You can really visualize it and see yourself in Mike as a business owner. I think he makes the whole struggle and the idea of creating Profit First so accessible, and you just understand it immediately. There's a lot of aha moments I would find in the book. How I like to view Profit First is you are setting yourself up for the unexpected. I talked to somebody who implemented Profit First recently, and they said, I implemented Profit First 5 years ago, and so many things in my life and in my business have changed since then, whether it was sickness in the family, death in the family, COVID hit, all these things that you're not really expecting to happen. But Profit First can bring you through that in your business, because you're able to put away money for yourself as the business owner, whether you choose to reinvest that into the business or you're constantly altering your expenses to fit what's happening in the current climate. You are setting future you up for success there. You're actively working in the business rather than kind of like letting the business happen to you. So it's all about, in my opinion, like preparing yourself for the future and all the what ifs. And I think in or out of real estate, we kind of all learned that going through COVID, right? There are things that you cannot predict. And if you have a system in the background of your business planning for something like this, you're going to be able to weather the storm.
Planning for the unexpected. I mean, we're all mitigating risk, right? As entrepreneurs and as real estate investors, especially right now, there's certain things that are out of our control. And there are things that are in our control. And I think whenever we're teaching and sharing in our investor community, it's like, what do you have control over? And what don't you have control over? Because there's a lot you don't. But what you do have control over, to your point, is how you manage what's coming in. There's so many, investors and women that are listening that they have properties and they aren't managing those properties, the cash side of it, as optimally as they can, quite honestly. Even when you ask them, what is your gross income, your net income? Can't answer that, right? So I'm curious about the actual process and just money comes in. So I'm thinking, I have 5 properties and I have my gross income that comes in. Obviously I have expenses and what have you. Then is it a percentage that you delineate to say, you know what, I feel comfortable with a 5% X here. And then, I need 10% for tax because I did a bunch of flips and I might have more of a tax burden. What does that process look like? And is that something that, is almost like you need some counsel on and support on to assess what is the right amount percentages to put in these accounts, if you will?
I will always err on the side of support is best, guidance is best, especially when you're trying something new. And I think a lot of us either get into the real estate space because we want a side hustle or we want to try something new. It might not be something that is our main focus or something that we're really great at yet. So why not get the help when you can? And so there's many people certified in Profit First out there that can help you assess your business. So basically they'll run a full assessment on your business, see where you're spending, like what can you cut back on? How can you start putting more profit towards yourself as a business owner and start from there? And even if you're not using a professional and just using the book gives you some great examples to start with. Like a targeted percentage might be, 50% of your monthly income goes to your owner's pay, 30% goes to your operating expenses. 15% is going to go to tax, and then 5% left over goes to your profit. That's going to look different for every business. But if you just start maybe 1% profit, maybe that's all you can handle right now. That's going to be a start to it. And a big conversation around this is, okay, well, if I'm not comfortable working with my finances this way, but I still want to do it, how do I keep myself accountable? And when you look at something like Relay, and I'm sure we'll dive into Relay a little bit more in a bit, but we have the ability to automate this for you. So you can plug in the percentages that you want to run, let's say on a bi-monthly basis, twice monthly. And Relay is going to run that for you. So if you are looking for the help and you know yourself, right? Women tend to be very intuitive and you're like, hey, I know I need the help, but I don't know if I've got the time to do this. Set up some automation for yourself to help you get to where you want to be.
I love this because when and we're working with Relay, and when we implemented, we read Profit First. We're like, we got to do this. Like it was like me and Andressa will read books together and really just keep growing as entrepreneurs. We're like, we need this. And when we started implementing I felt I want to go back to this feeling. I think a lot of folks will struggle with feeling a little guilty at first. Like here I'm taking 5%, as a profit for me as the owner, right? Because there is an owner founder, you're doing things to grow the business. That's a role. It's not just, there's some silent partners, of course, and there's some silent owners, but so many of the women listening and some of the people listening are active entrepreneurs. They're active investors, right? And so it felt guilty at first, but the automated way to approach this, the guilt goes out the door. Totally. Because you're not the one doing it, right? And I really, really like that, to be honest with you, because I grew up Italian. I grew up and, everything was guilt, but it's really powerful when you have these systems set up. And quite honestly, so many banks are like literally from the 1950s. Their systems and processes are not keeping up with the times. So I love that you guys do that in a very safe way for people, because then they actually do it because it's automated and simple versus the latter. So I love that. I really want to ask you, I want to get to like what holds investors back from implementing this and how and I know you shared a little bit of how to overcome it by taking small steps, but there's a mindset here. It's a big mindset when it comes to money and managing money. I'm sorry. It's hugely mindset. It's not just the money itself. So tell us, what do you see? Because you work with so many entrepreneurs. Quite honestly, you work with entrepreneurs from all different types of businesses, especially real estate investors, which is a type of entrepreneur. What's the mindset that's holding them back to really implementing this, both in a physical way and from a, philosophical way?
There's two parts here. I think for the mindset, what I would say is what I get to view from business owners every day implementing Profit First is their ability to be vulnerable, to say, I need to make a change. I need to support myself better. I need to do something different here. So once you're at that spot, everything else tends to be easy, but you have to allow yourself to get to that spot first, right? And just say whether you're going to accept help from someone or you want to go hire a professional to help you. There's many different routes that you can go, but getting to that spot where you are saying, I'm ready to make a change, and whether there's guilt attached to that or not, I'm pretty sure there always is, unfortunately. Getting to the spot where you're saying like, okay, I'm ready. That's the biggest hurdle in the mindset perspective, but more so like practicality. Let's talk about if anybody here has ever gone to their local bank and said, I want to start Profit First. Hey, banker, I want 5 extra accounts. More than likely, they're going to look at you like you're crazy. And if you have never done this before, and this is like your very first time, you're probably going to feel discouraged when your rep at the local bank is like, I don't know what you're talking about, or I'm going to charge you an arm and leg in order to set this up for yourself. You feel discouraged. So when you look at a tool like Relay, and Liz, you're probably in this very similar space right now too, using Relay, is all of those roadblocks are removed. You come on, you sign up for Relay within 10 minutes, and you can open all of your Profit First accounts at once. So all of those, I'd like to call them more of like a physical barrier, that being the bank, that are in your way are removed when you look at a different tool, something like Relay.
Yeah, I love that because, we talk a lot in our community, and I'm sure you do too. It's like there's a tactical issue, right? There's literally like a tactical problem, if you will, or opportunity. And then there's like what's underneath that. And so, I love what you're saying, because from a tactical perspective, people can get very, okay, because they do go, I mean, the things I ask our banks that we've moved our money from has been like, feel like I'm in I really do feel like I'm decades ago. Like, come on, let's get with the times here.
2024 people.
Yeah, let's it's 2024. Come on. Yeah. And I think in this digital world of, us having businesses in multiple states and properties in multiple states, moving fast, we can't afford not to know, like what something I love about Relay, I've come to really appreciate, is like real time right now. What does my money look like? And so I can make that decision on the next property to buy or the investment I need to make. So I really like the real timeness of what you guys do, because it's It's really limiting when you don't have that. And it's like a delay because you just can't make the right financial decisions.
Yeah. And that also, Liz, kind of goes back to what you were saying before, like looking at your bank balance and that's what you're making the decisions on. Like that, we call that at Relay, like bank balance budgeting, which is not great, not something you want to do. But a lot of your local banks are going to force you to do that because it makes it challenging for you to open up separate accounts to kind of get away from that mindset. So even if you're interested in opening up Relay, but not fully committed to running multiple accounts yet, even a second account is going to change the way that you look at your real-time finances.
So let's talk about the benefits, because I know so many folks listening are like, okay, this is going to take some work. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. And then they're like, task, 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 and especially the ones that are like relationship oriented and they want to grow the business. They're like, oh, the thought of doing this, right? Let's break through that, because on the other side is something that can really be profitable, and you're paying yourself first, and you're really able to control your finances in such a more laser focused way, quite honestly. And I was there because we have moved through that. And I am someone who really honestly doesn't want to spend time in accounts and spreadsheets. I'm just rather be chatting with people, quite honestly. So what have you seen as like a real life scenario that we can share with everyone listening of when they came in, their business was X, challenges they had, and how doing this actually really did create more sustainability, more financial wherewithal, and quite honestly, it allowed them to grow their business, which is what we all want.
Yeah. So the first story that kind of comes to mind is I was working with this real estate investor, and she had, I think, about 3 properties at the time, and she had been committed to Profit First for about 2 years before being introduced to Relay, and loved it. Right? If you can do anything for 2 years, you're probably obsessed with it, right? So
Sure.
You're in. Loved what she did for her business. Was able, had to go through the mindset change and start supporting herself more. She ended up getting introduced to Relay through her bookkeeper, and I sat on a demo with her, and we were going through the platform and how Relay supports Profit First. And we went through like the automated transfers part, and she actually had tears in her eyes because she's thinking about herself getting into something like Relay and how that's going to change how she goes about her week, how much time she's going to save by not manually going to calculate everything, transferring everything around, having this big mental load saying, I know it's worth it. I'm going to keep doing it because it's supporting me, my business well, but this is a huge time suck for me. And that's time that can be spent elsewhere in my business, in my personal life. And so it was just this huge light bulb moment for her, thinking like, I can get some of this back by implementing a tool like Relay. And so any of the legwork that you have to do to then like switch over banking, which is obviously a huge topic as well, is worth it when you can see that extra time, that extra money, that extra whatever going back into other parts of your business or parts of your life.
Yeah. I think for me, the light bulb and the kind of like the motivation, if you will, is that, like anyone, like any company, we should be thinking about how do we reinvest in the company? How do we reinvest in what we're doing so we can grow? And for us, it's about empowering more women. We want to really impact women's lives globally, right? We believe that it's like the birthright of every woman to become financially free. So in order to do that, that takes money, that takes resources, that takes manpower. Me and Jessica can't do that alone, right? Or one person or 2 people can't. So for us, being able to earmark, money in a sense of, okay, money coming in from, what we're doing in different ways, whether, as we grow our own business, has been really powerful that we could say, okay, we can reinvest this in X, which is going to serve the women and build the business and really do what we're here to do. I think that's what it's about. And when we put it in that context, it's not just about, oh, we're reinvesting in this and I'm paying myself first. It's much bigger than that. And that's how I see it. And that's why I love the idea of Profit First, because God, I've been an entrepreneur for many years, 17 years, started investing. And I wish we started paying ourselves sooner. And it didn't, and it wasn't probably going to be a big percent because we were, I quit my job. My husband and I were kind of hand in hand building our investing business. And, I wish the concept got to me earlier though, to be honest. And so I just want everyone listening. It's a mindset. And then to be able to connect with Relay and a bookkeeper. I will tell you this too. The key to any shift in your business, so you become more financially stable, more financially free, is that all of the tools and team have to be singing the same sheet of music. And I know this from early on. I had a bookkeeper who had no real estate experience. And they're like, no, bookkeeping is all the same. Doesn't matter. I was like, okay. And then we started working with them. And honestly, we were doing flips. We had rentals. We were doing a few different things in the business. It was a debacle of a situation because she had no experience in real estate. So why I'm saying that now is, and I love what you're saying, Deanna, is that you, regardless of whether you implement profit first or you work with relay or not, you need to be aligned. So when you go down the profit first perspective, and then you say, okay, who can serve me in this? Relay is so phenomenal. And then is my bookkeeper aligned? And are they on the same sheet of music? You need to be aligned completely. All three of those. And then you can go then you can actually implement the process versus I want to do this and I don't have the right people and tools. I don't know if you've seen the same thing, Deanna.
Yeah, 100%. And primarily my role at Relay is working with accountants and bookkeepers, but also ones that are Profit First certified and implement this. And the difference in wanting to start, you're already going out on a limb as a business owner saying, okay, I'm going to try something new. I'm going to implement Profit First. You should probably have a little bit of support there. And if the main person you're going to for your financials or to understand like what's going on in your business is not aligned with you, you're not going to get the support that you need. And there's tons of advisors out there that have gone through this training to be able to support you. And so you're right. You all got this be singing the same music and you should be. You want to feel supported from those people, especially if you're paying for them to support your business, right?
So many investors are not using bookkeepers, and they have a lot of properties and they just have a spreadsheet. I don't understand that. And I do understand it because I was there until I started missing mortgage payments. And we had about 30 rentals and I was doing all of our bookkeeping. And I'm not a bookkeeper, clearly, nor do I have the skill set to be a bookkeeper. And I missed 2 mortgage payments. And my husband said, we're 30 days over. He's like, this is a big deal. I'm like, I know. And he's like, you can't do this anymore. And then we shifted to working with a team. But, that was one step right now to be able to work with a bookkeeper along with Profit First. It's a whole other echelon of growth, which, life is a process. I'm curious to also understand, Deanna, where you've seen by delineating the accounts, like what other benefits have you seen investors and entrepreneurs glean from this methodology in like a long-term perspective? Obviously unexpected and being able to delineate, pay yourself first, but what other kind of really powerful advantages have you seen, especially from a wealth building perspective?
Being able to invest in more properties. We see a lot of that come onto relays, especially in the case where sometimes you'll have multiple entities, maybe all registered under the same EIN, right? And that's something that you can easily do on Relay. But being able to see them track their profit and grow their business to the point where they can then invest in another property and another property and another property. And when you see that on Relay too, you can do that all in one screen, which is crazy, but you're seeing it all together. Like you're seeing, wow, I can actively chart how I'm growing through this business. And that's been really powerful for business owners. And on the flip side, from a personal perspective, a lot of people will open a separate account and be like, this is my family vacation fund, or this is I'm going to give my team a raise fund, or I'm going to purchase this big new equipment fund. And being able to earmark goals for that for yourself, whether it's personal or professional, it's very motivating. And even if you're just, you're rewinding all to the start and saying, I'm just going to start with 1%, just like you said, Liz, like, oh, where was this 17 years ago? Like started really small and now it's really worth it. It's going to become addicting, I think, to see that percentage go up and see how further along you can push this. And it's not going to be easy, right? It's going to be hard, especially the mindset change, but the benefits, they're going to prove it to you that it's worth it.
I love that. I think you're right. And it's what I love about the percent is that everyone can do a certain percent, and I think that's the limiting belief to move through. So you said, okay, we're going to pay ourselves this in profit. And, I think that's so important, especially when we're such giving. We're such a lot of investors, women and men, are very giving in nature. They want to build their own wealth, but it is long term, or they see it as long term building. But it is about how am I paying myself now? And how can I pay myself more so I can, and I know so many folks want to leave their jobs. Some don't, but some do. Now, how do I do that? I'm curious about the challenges, the problems. I love the war stories, as they say. What challenges have you seen, folks, when they're, embracing this, they're using it, but what problems have they faced? And maybe not really committing to it, maybe not, being, opening up accounts and then they forget they have the accounts open. What challenges do you find a lot of, busy entrepreneurs, busy folks are, struggling with, and what's a solution to that?
Yeah, I think when you said like not committing, that's the biggest one that I see. Like doing anything half-assed, we're not going to get anywhere with it. And if you're going to open up, 3 accounts, but you're going to do all your calculations in an Excel spreadsheet and you're not going to accept help or seek help, or even like join a community that is also going through similar struggle for you, even if you're not ready to pay for someone for assistance, because that's a whole nother step in the business, obviously, is yeah, like not taking it seriously enough, especially when there's easy tools out there to help you do it. Right. I think and maybe it's like, you don't know about the tools. Right. And so it's great that we're shining a light on that from the Relay perspective here, but yeah, not committing, because you're doing yourself and your business an injustice when you're doing something half-ass. Right.
Let me ask you a question. Now this is when I like to get my own questions answered always on every podcast. So say you have someone doing this with their businesses. They have multiple properties, multiple businesses, and then they want to bring in some personal accounts. So it's almost like a holistic view. Do you find a lot of folks or a lot of investors are doing that? Meaning I have my investments here, these accounts, but I also use Relay for all my personal, or is it mostly just business?
I would love if people could do this. A lot of people ask about this all the time.
Okay.
We're only business right now.
Only business. Okay. That's what I had to ask.
There's an appetite for it 100%. Because especially when you got success in your business, right? You're like, how else can I apply this in my life? Like, this is working for me. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid.
You're drinking the Kool-Aid. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, there's appetite out there and people definitely do. And if that's something you're looking to do, I don't have any recommendations for a personal bank to run Profit First or something similar like that with, but I would say an online bank is going to be your best option to do that.
Yeah. I just love how Relay is just ahead of the curve, because we need right now, I think, in the economy that we're in the quickness of decisions that need to get made, and you're mitigating risk, right? We want to grow our portfolios and we want to mitigate any risks. So, we can make sure we're protected. The real-time data and having a bank and a banking is huge in our business, that you can move quickly. Like right now is I don't know how else you do it, honestly.
Exactly. You need your bank to be able to help you out. It's a huge partner in your business. And I think something that differentiates Relay, and I don't know if you've been able to experience this yet, Liz, but Relay is what we call a neobank. So we're actually a fintech company built on top of a partner bank.
You said neo, N-E-O?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I never heard of that term.
I know. So we're learning today. So
there we
go. We're partnered on top of a physical bank. Physical bank is located in Tennessee. They're called Thread Bank. They are how we are FDIC insured. They are how we have banking capabilities. But the tech company Relay, like the skin that you see when you log in, is a tech company. So that's why we're intuitive. Buttons are where they should be. Customers can request features. We can help you automate Profit First. These are not things that you would associate with your typical local branch, right? And it's because we weren't built by a bank. So we're able to implement these different things to help support business owners in ways that other institutions can't. And you were kind of just mentioning, like, you got to mitigate the risk, like you have to be protected. And that's part of what our banking partner does as well, is not only do we offer the 250K FDIC, we actually offer up to 2.5 million through our network. And yeah, and I feel like in real estate, once you have one property, it's only a matter of time, usually till you have a second, a third, and you do need this insured, right? If we've learned anything in the past year, especially with a banking relationship, can't have all your eggs in one basket. So if you want to diversify, go to somewhere they've got lots of coverage too.
Yeah. And the other thing I really appreciate with any, tool app that you're using, especially like Relay, that they're leaders in education as well. You guys are always doing things on the educational front, because you want your partners, the team that you have around you, especially as you're managing cash and growing your business, to quite honestly be ahead of you. Like, you cannot be ahead of everyone. I think as women, we really want to be ahead of everyone, but I want to know what the insurance trends are going to look like. I want to know what's happening in the banking industry. What's the next thing? I want to be able to have those partners, if you will, that are ahead of me and that are doing the work to be ahead of me. Because you got to be good at what you do, finding deals and what have you. And then make sure you have, and your bank and your bookkeeper are partners
Yeah. You
ultimately.
want them to be experts, right? That's why
Yeah.
you invest in a relationship with them. And it's funny that you say that you want your partners to be ahead of you, because there's a lot of times where I'll sit down with a business owner. Usually my opening question is like, talk to me about your banking relationship. What challenges are you experiencing right now? And often people will come up with nothing. Even though I know that's not true, I don't know if there's anybody in the history of the world that has said, I love my bank, right? It
Yeah.
usually
Yeah.
doesn't happen.
I don't know if I've ever talked to anyone. They're like, yeah, I
Right?
love my bank.
Yeah,
No.
wouldn't happen. And so I take that and I say, okay, like let's take a look at Relay, and we'll go through the different features that we offer, and even aside from Profit First, and I'll finish the walkthrough and say like, what do you think? And the light bulb has gone off on multiple different occasions through our walkthrough, but the resounding answer is I didn't know anything like this was possible. So I didn't know the challenges that I was experiencing because I didn't know what else is out there. So it's definitely a different perspective to take. But if you want your partners to be ahead, like it's a good place to be.
That's awesome. Deanna, this has been great. And I really appreciate quite honestly, the hard work you and your team are doing. You guys are so, customer oriented with our community and everything, and just always happy to help and really quite honestly be a resource first and foremost. That's what I absolutely love about working with you guys. But it's about educating yourself on how we as entrepreneurs can put ourselves first and make sure we can make quick decisions for managing our money. That's really ultimately the goal. So I just appreciate all the hard work you guys do with our community. Where can everyone listening learn more about you guys, get connected, and take the next step?
Yeah, we will have a link that Lizzie can post in the episode so everybody can head there. I know everybody's going to be scrambling. Liz, Deanna, how do I sign up for Relay? I need to do it ASAP. So you can use the link to go and do that. Open yourself a Relay account. It'll take you 10 minutes. It'll be the easiest bank opening you've ever had. You can rely on me for that one. And look for the Profit First book if you want to see what we're talking about, what we're so excited about, what hundreds of businesses implement every day. Buy the book and take a stab at it. Why not?
Deanna, thank you so much for being on our show today.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you so much for having me.